Hey guys, what's up? Nate here. So today I'm going to follow the rules of Robert Greene, and instead of thinking just 5 moves ahead, I'm also going to think 5 problems ahead, and in today's video, in case, it's 4. So I want to talk about a couple of things today that if you do these things, then you are more than likely not going to be successful in scaling your business. And if you do them right and you master them, you definitely have a higher chance of scaling in your business. Now, as you know, on this channel, we talk about scaling and we talk about online infrastructures and we talk about the latest news happening in the online market. So if you like those types of things, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. All right, let's go ahead and let's dive right in. So the first thing I want to talk about, which should be patently obvious, is the idea that you need to have substantial capital, at least depending on what number you are trying to hit next. You need to have capital on reserve in order to make that scale. Scaling is like a tornado, a whirling, level 7 or whatever tornado that is just rapidly sucking all of the cash that you have in order to get you up to that next business level. Now, there are a lot of strategies behind this on how to get capital. I'm not saying that you necessarily have to have it in the bank. There are a ton of different strategies out there in order for you to get capital, but it is something to always mentally have. It's something that we always tell our clients to always mentally have at least some level of number, depending on what stage they're at, whether they're trying to scale to 50,000 or whether they're trying to scale to 100,000 or $1 million. There's really just a variety there, but typically it's always good to at least start, and this should be something that is patently obvious to you, that you need to have some capital in hand to make sure that you're able to pay for software, maybe for ad spend, for products, for new hiring and employees, and any other costs that might come along the way, because contrary to maybe popular belief, the more you grow, the more costs typically come into play, and the higher and faster you want to scale, the more cost is going to be involved along the way. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going completely negative and that you're just losing tons and tons of money, but it means that you're investing in a better infrastructure in order to be able to scale your business. So the next thing you can do to absolutely fail at scaling is not hire the right people. I don't mean even just individuals. I mean, maybe a mentor or a consulting agency or a marketing agency. There's a lot of different types of people that you can hire along the way. But what you want to make sure of is that there is not too much scope creep happening on different people inside the business. If this person over here is doing 10 different things, well, it might take them a lot longer to get those things done. Their frame of mind cannot stay in the same thing. You, as the business owner, you shouldn't have you're not really going to have the capacity or the time to be able to take on 10 different things all at once. CEO or the business owner is supposed to focus on marketing and strategy and actually being able to build the things necessary to scale the business. But in terms of the level of responsibility, well, that is probably going to have to be put on an employee or a marketing agency. You're not going to be able to do it all itself. So in order to not fail, make sure that you hire the right people at the appropriate times and make sure that you're not trying to do it all yourself. So something that I see happen quite often is the idea that somebody might scale really, really quickly and maybe to like their first $1 million. And I think it was all hunky-dory. Everyone's happy. We made $1 million. Maybe at the end of, profitability, maybe we made $300,000 to $500,000. Everything's great. We just need to pump more money in, and then all of a sudden we're just going to zoom up to the moon. But then what happens is they didn't have a viable strategy in place, and they weren't thinking over the next week, over the next month, or over the next quarter, over the next year. What are the actual numbers that we want to hit? How much is this going to cost? And what are the baseline metrics that we, hold ourselves in the business accountable in order to attribute success? It happens all the time. I've seen it a bunch of different times. We've had clients that have had this happen to them. They invest a lot of money, and they end up falling flat on their face because things didn't turn out the way that they wanted. It turns out that the more money that you make, the more things can become difficult and the more problems that can arise. So it's important to have not only a good strategy, but a strategy that is adaptable with the changing of the times, the changing of your business, and just the changing of the company as a whole as you start to get bigger. Now, talking about strategy and those baseline metrics is a good idea into my next point in the idea of analytics. The surefire way to fail is to not establish baseline analytics to look at and see what are our measures of success. What are we actually holding ourselves accountable to? What does our minimum profitability have to be, or what do costs have to be? What do our costs per acquisition have to be? And what's the actual brand strategy and analytics behind what we're doing, the customer avatar, all of the different things that the marketing plan, the brand outline, and the brand book that actually changes your business and actually kind of fuels it in a way that helps it rise. And if you're not outlining those analytics, if you're not setting those baseline metrics, you're not going over those with your team on a weekly basis, if you as the business owner don't have those business structures in place, those systems in place to be able to show you those metrics, you're never going to know what the heck is going on. You're never going to know what's working and what's not working. You're never going to be able to make the changes that you need to make, and you're never going to be able to stop the problems that you need to stop. So having analytics and reporting is so incredibly important, and if you don't establish those, you're most likely going to wind up, you might make a decent amount of money, but at the same time, you might wind up in 6 months kind of wondering where all that money came from, and now where do we go from here? And all that money that you made over that time can disperse very, very quickly. What we preach and what I teach in my business and with our clients is the idea of long-term growth and profitability. That's the most important thing here. We might care about the next day, we might care about the next week and month. We're looking at the daily cash flows of those days, but we're also thinking in terms of the next 3 to 5 years. And lastly, to bring it all back around, if you really want to fail at scaling and you don't want to make it, it kind of brings all these things together, and the plan, the strategy maybe that you made, the capital that you saved up, the people that you hired, and the systems and structures you put in place of analytics, you didn't actually end up doing all of those things. This can typically just be called strategy execution. You didn't actually go through with it. You didn't actually perform the plan. You didn't actually hold to the timelines that you did. And it's so vitally important, especially for a CEO, to hold to the systems that he establishes in place, he or she, and to be able to show everyone else in the company to follow the same systems. Because what's the point of doing all this work if you're not actually going to do it? And this happens a lot, because if you think about people that buy online courses, you notice at the beginning of every online course, they all say, well, you actually, you buy this course, but you actually need to do it. You need to do this course. People buy courses all the time and they don't actually do anything with them. But what was their original strategy? What was their original plan? Did they have the capital for this? A lot of times, no. But they came in with this idea that it was all just going to happen. But what's required with every level of scaling, what's required with every level of growing a business, you can do all this work, but the whole point is that you actually have to do it. You have to stick to it, and you have to do it right. That's so important. Not just building a strategy, not just hiring the right people, and not just having the capital, but you have to do all of this right along the way, because there are wrong ways to do all those things. But you have to make it adaptable. You have to have different levels of accountability and different levels of responsibility, and you need to be able to execute the plan in the best way possible, the quickest way possible, that fits in with your strategy timelines. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you found value in it, and I hope that when you are scaling, you are able to see the things that typically cause people to fail when scaling, and you're able to master them in your business, and you're able to scale your business to 7 figures, ideally to 8 figures and beyond. So I hope this video really helped you out. If you liked it, make sure you like it down below. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Share it with your friends. Thank you guys so much. Until next time.